Carl Sagan could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media, the 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less, lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance." Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
What do you think Trump will do? Because Trump says he'll end this day one. The U.S. pays for 90% of it. I think he can.
He's going to be the adult in the room. He's basically everything from the Malaysian flight that went away. I'm convinced that was a shot at China. Don't mess with us. That's sixth-generation war. That's all we got, though, because it's not the Biden administration running this. This is a lot of people in the House or whatever. But the thing with Russia, China, Taiwan, North Korea, Trump will come in and he will say, all right, first of all, everyone stand up as I sit down. I'm the adult in the room. Everyone knock it off, which they will. But right now, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, they've got until January 20th of next year. And they know it. It's coming. But again, the Malaysia flight, too, was one shot at China saying, knock it off.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Even as these grainy satellite images released today by the Chinese government.
Why shoot it down, though, if it's not hostile?
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Why the Americans would?
They leave distance annihilated.
This country is very powerful. Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Oh, chat. Here we go. Chat, it is time to finally start going after the people responsible for MH370. I'm sick and tired of science. We've been getting buff mentally, but we've been letting people skirt accountability. The problem is, in order to achieve accountability for our goals, which is getting them to tell the truth about MH370 under any circumstances, even if it means revealing super advanced, possibly alien technology, then in that case, we need to understand how the CIA operates. Tonight, we're going to dig into how the command structure for covert operations operates, and what even is a covert operation versus a clandestine operation. But before we get into that, we've got a lot to cover tonight. There's a new video from Jeremy Corbell that I want to show, and I want to dig into some comments about that. We got Diego Garcia, guys. We have not yet saved Diego Garcia. Just think of this. We are the only community, period, anywhere in the entire world that's trying to save Diego Garcia. And you might say, Ashton. You'd say, Ashton, don't they use Diego Garcia to orb airplanes or something like that? Yeah, probably. All the more reason to save the island. I mean, I thought I was clear about my position, but let me reiterate it. Y'all cattle, the low IQ cattle out there, I guess they're being called Goyim now. Maybe we'll work on a negotiation with Nick Fuentes where we can use that term. They are never going to get this technology. I'm glad that the United States and my country has this technology. The only reason why I'm revealing this information is because they won't tell the truth about this airplane that we're going to discuss tonight. So, of course, we need to save Diego Garcia, especially if we're using it in covert operations. Now, there's a couple other things, but this actually reminds me of the first thing that I want to talk about tonight. The first thing that reminded me of why even have this conversation tonight, why even look into this. And then we'll take a look at the Jeremy Corbell clip. And I've got a lot of interesting, fun clips to look at tonight, including a Dan Bongino clip. I think the first ever Dan Bongino clip that we've watched. So here it is right here. Someone pinged me on this, and I'll pull it up and share it with you guys. Here it is. Let's watch this together. Hold on, I'm going to mute this part. I don't want to get copyright strike for music here. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
No, you didn't. My man, or woman, I don't know who's running that account. Take that down. Take that down.
I know dang well you didn't just turn the Sergeant Major mining of Delta Force into some AI dance trend. Do you not fear for your life?
He was.
Okay, so this guy's apparently some kind of super goat, right? He was like Delta Force. He was Delta Force, one of the OGs of Delta Force commanders, right? So everybody respects him. Okay, keep going.
EOD. A Sergeant Major of Delta Force who's EOD. Did I mention Delta Force? These dudes that go into places and erases it. Their presence was never seen, felt, or known. I had an experience with Delta Force before. Hard to believe, right? Yes, totally. Hey, Diego Garcia, not going to say the year. I'm doing the mission. All of a
You know it's coming, chat. Wait for it. Not going to say the year. Why not? Why you're not going to say the year? Okay. I'm going to let him continue. But right off the bat here, this reminded me of something. This reminded me of I don't know if it was a rumor, a story, or something that from the investigation, from the MH370 investigation that we collectively did together. One of the probably thousands of pieces of evidence that are still in our evidence Discord right now, today, was that somebody claimed that the night MH370 disappeared, they were at Diego Garcia. And like a plane came in unannounced and they had to like close all the windows or what have you and pretend like they didn't hear anything. And at the time when I heard this, I was trying to tie this story to the MH370 story, of course. I mean, not, like in a dishonest way, but like, does this fit in? And I couldn't understand, like, were they doing that so that nobody would see the plane come down? It didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, how are you going to have a Boeing 777 land at Diego Garcia, even in the middle of the night? There's going to be people like walking around on post, right? How would that work out? So it never really made a lot of sense. I never really talked about it. Let's let this man continue here. Let's see what he has to say.
Sudden, we get word there's a bird coming in. I'm looking at the flight chart. Hey, there's no scheduled bird coming in. What are you talking about? You know what that means, Munger. You've been briefed. You know what that means in your career field. Everybody get off the tarmac. Get off the tarmac. We ain't seen shit. I still got dragged in for questioning afterwards. Tell you right now, you doing this may seem cutesy to you. Like, well, first of all, you could have put the right rank on the man and all his lickies and chewies. Secondly, if that community felt like it, you could disappear. You could disappear.
I'm going to talk about something that I was going to wait to talk about, but that part there just reminded me of it. That community could make you disappear. That community could make you disappear. Why? Because they're doing operations that are illegal, that if they were exposed, their lives would be over. They would be exposed as, in some cases, massive hypocrites, because we're supposedly supposed to be defending our country, but we're, in some cases, doing crimes to do that. And I'm going to show you at the end of this stream exactly how the CIA justifies things that are clearly immoral, like lying intentionally, because I figured it out. Because I watched that, and I went, wow, they have like a protocol for when a special operation is conducted. It's not MH370 that was landing at Diego Garcia. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the Delta Force team or whatever was deployed in the operation. He's talking about them landing back at Diego Garcia. He's saying that when the special forces team was never there shows up, everybody shuts down the radar, looks the other way, says nothing. And I never thought about that. I never thought for a major operation, there absolutely has to be hands-on support. This is actually something I know from my own job in the healthcare IT field. When we do go lives, the number one thing is hands-on support. You don't leave a massive operation like MH370 to just 2 drones that are remotely controlled. There had to be people nearby that in case something goes wrong, what do you do about it? And somebody had to be deploying those orbs. Sure, there could be platforms there, but all of these things, to leave this all up to just remote possibility and that everything goes right from a remote perspective, very unlikely. But that has to be balanced with how many people do you want to know about the operation? You want the minimum number of people to know about the operation. So this means 2 things. Some special forces people were almost certainly involved in MH370. And this is an information that this guy is saying. This is just what I'm gleaning by just learning about how the system works. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. And then he says, though, they can make you disappear. The things you guys have to realize, this special forces community is like a family. I realized it during the Livelsberger incident, how they all just like weirdly circled the wagons immediately around that guy. Very bizarre behavior. And the way Shawn Ryan was acting was very suspicious. So here's the thing. I don't think Shawn Ryan was part of the operation. I don't think Robert O'Neill was part of the operation. I don't think they were privy to the information about the operation. That's not what I am accusing either of them of. What I'm accusing, honestly, for sure, Rob O'Neill, is he knows that an operation happened indirectly. And I would be blown out of my mind if Shawn Ryan didn't know too. Because what happens is you hear a claim like this and you're like, whoa, it is kind of weird that a plane disappeared. And now this guy's talking about leaked military videos. And if those are real, that's pretty insane. But it also implicates a lot of people in some crimes. And so the first thing you would do is you would go ask your buddies, especially your general buddies, or admiral buddies, like Admiral William McRaven. You would ask McRaven, you would text him and be like, yo, MH370. And you would just wait. And you would wait. And you would wait. And you would get no messages back. And you'd be like, hey, man, are we still on for beer next week? You'd be like, yeah, we're ready to go. And be like, guess I don't ask him about MH370. Or you corner him at bowling, and you're like, hey, yo, just tell me what's good with MH370. And he just looks at you, gives you that face where you just know you're not supposed to ask that anymore. That's how I imagine it going down. So what I'm saying is this. I'd be very surprised if Shawn Ryan doesn't know, just from context, that the MH370 videos are real. I'm not saying he's part of the operation. I'm saying that he's in a high enough place and knows important enough people, including the literal president, that it would blow my mind if he couldn't contextually piece together that the missing airliner was a covert operation. Because these guys recognize the patterns in these operations because they are parts of them. Their whole lives are parts of them. It's like if I'm playing Magic cards, I can recognize the deck a guy's playing. If you watch me, be like, how do you know what deck that guy's playing just from like 2 cards? Because, oh, I just know the context of it. I know what people are playing. I know how it works. Right? That's how it works with these guys. And so I watched that video and things started just kind of click for me. And I realized we've already kind of identified some of the people that were involved, but I want to understand the exact way that it works. And don't worry, and I'm not done with Shawn Ryan. I made a post and a reply to Shawn Ryan, and it is a non-violent threat, but yes, it is a threat. Here's the thing I hate the most in this world is hypocrites. Virtue signaling hypocrites. I can't stand it. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what side you're on. Don't be a virtue signaling hypocrite. Don't go around talking about good versus evil and you're on the side of good and everybody else is evil and you're stopping the evil forces. Because the people that virtue signal the most, they have the most to hide, I find. Now, ironically, this just happened with this girl, this e-girl named Sarah Stock. Apparently, she was like a trad cath girl talking about keeping abstinent, saying how she's a virgin and marrying this guy and her life, his dream was coming true and posting about how her dream's coming true and everything and talking down to everybody else about, you know, how they're not being traditional. Turns out she was sleeping with Elijah Schaefer, her boss, the whole time up until the wedding, or at least up until the engagement. And you're just going, it's not that I have nothing personal. I haven't even posted about this, that I want to like dig into people. But I cannot stand this grifty, virtue signaling hypocrisy. And if I see it and people are doing it and I know it and I find out, I'm going to expose them, period. So if Shawn Ryan knows the MH370 videos are real and he's been avoiding that, and I see him posting around replying to Candace Owens about, we're going to defeat evil, good will always win, all this fucking bullshit. But you're letting the government and the CIA hide clearly illegal, maybe even acts of war. And just even if that's not enough, because you might say, whatever, it's just the communist Chinese. Fine. I agree, actually. There was still an American on that plane, number one. Number two, the technology they're using, that's a crime against humanity. Yet we should have fusion right now. And at this point, fusion is probably like small potatoes. Like they can give us fusion and still have major strategic and military advantage over our adversaries. They're hiding life-changing technology. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about how you're on the side of good versus evil when you're helping cover up covert and clandestine operations. Especially ones that hide technology that we literally paid for that's being hidden from us. Simple as that. Okay? Now, we're going to come back to that stuff. I want to dig into that. I actually think it's the most interesting part of the stream tonight, so I hope you guys will hang with me to the end. And we don't have too much to go through. But The next thing I want to jump into is this new video from Jeremy Corbell. Like, what's going on here? Now we're being videos are raining. UFO videos are raining down upon us now. But Jeremy Corbell, I don't even know if he's talking about. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch his show ever, literally. But, and it's not a slight against him. I just don't find him interesting. I find it all theatrical. And they don't really do any research on the air. Everything's stretched out to 30 minutes, you know. I can't stand that crap. Suddenly now, they're dropping these videos, but they're not defending them. It's like, oh, we just dropped this other video here. It's got 3 orbs, triangle formation. Okay, well, that's over with. Next thing. And then they just dropped this other video. So let me pull it up. I don't want to make you guys wait. Where is it? Trying to remember. Oh, yeah, on my profile. Here we go. This one. Okay. Whoop. There it is. Okay. Here we go. Let me restart this. So here's the new video, and it's an orb again, and it's a FLIR video again. It's actually really similar to the last one. It's actually weird. Let me hide this comments on stage. It's almost like they're like adding more information to every video. Like they almost like, hold on, let me pause this for a sec so you guys don't lose your attention span. But like remember the first Navy videos they released? It was like just basically blank and there was like nothing there to really even understand anything. It's almost like they're releasing them with like more and more like details on the screen. And also, if we're concerned about methods, sources and methods, then why are we allowing something like this to be released? And we know they're vetting them with the U.S. government. This has a lot of shit on it. Why are we allowing this to be released like this? What am I missing here? Okay, anyway, we'll keep this going. Okay, so we got orb flying through the sky. Is this like Nintendo Game Boy graphics here? I'm actually wondering, are they finding a way to make the graphics worse? Actually, if Mick West, if the Skeptards told me this is 90s video games, I'd say, you know what, you win this time. This time, actually, it's 90s video games graphics. You got me. You got it this time. We're looking at videos from 2014 that are like 1,000 times better than this. I can't even tell what's going on here. What is this? It's just a black blob on the screen. Is this up, down, left, right? What are we doing here? And sure, you got the numbers there, but like, this is the thing I'm going to crash out about. This camera is not, what is this, 180p? What is this? This camera cannot be this low quality. It just simply cannot be. It's got to be like 4K or some shit or something even higher than that potentially. Where's the original recordings of this? Why? Because I feel like if we just saw one video in its original quality, this would all be cleared up. We're going to see that it's like a plasma orb and that it's clearly not a bird or a balloon or whatever other crap these Skeptards keep coming up with. Okay. And so it's like the camera's moving and it's also turning. So I don't even know what I'm supposed to take from this. And I want to support weird orb videos. Like this doesn't look like a bird to me, just first glance. I mean, it's kind of zoomed out. And, you know, we know plasma orbs exist. We know plasma produces its own electromagnetic fields. So there's no reason there couldn't be a plasma drone or something like that. But the quality is just so bad on this one. It's so bad that I just can't make any discernible deductions off it. I mean, I can tell it's not classic propulsion, right? Because there's no jets coming off of this. But what is this? It's just a blob. It's just a blob. It's not flying in formation with any other blobs. And I guess the part, yeah, the glowing birds people, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, it doesn't look like a bird to me. I don't see any flapping. I mean, it's clearly kind of pretty structured, whatever it is. You can see the clouds maybe in the background. Again, I can't tell, like, is that ground clouds? There's no context to any of this. And then I guess what they're trying to say is what you just saw right there was instantaneous acceleration. So this is the biggest joke of all of this. I can't take any of these people seriously. I literally can't take any of these people seriously. They're trying to claim this is instantaneous acceleration because they want to be able to be like, dude, the 5 observables, bro. I'm like, no, dude. So this is important because one of the 5 observables you saw instantaneous acceleration, or you think you saw that there. That's why this video is important. How about the videos I've been showing where there's 2 videos in perfect sync where you see all 5 observables, all of them? No, that's not interesting. No, those videos are fake. Did you review them? Did you look at any of the thing around the case? No, you didn't even look at it. But this I'm supposed to believe this is instantaneous acceleration. I mean, because my first thought, and I'm not trying to be biased, truly, I just I'm in like Camp Meteor. I hope the Meteor takes out the alien lovers and, the Skeptards equivalently. First thought, looking at this, I can see the camera moving around. So did the camera just move really quickly and the object move off the camera and now it's gone? Like, that happens, right? When things are moving and you move the camera. And so when it goes up like that, and then you see this weird cut or whatever this is right here, like the camera, I don't know if it's just the quality. It looks like it's drifting up here. Okay, I'm with you here. But then what is that? I don't know. What did I just see right there? It looks like I saw some kind of cut or something, but I can't tell because it's just a black blob on the screen. Just a black blob on the screen. Now, one last thought on this. I was going to show this back and forth between these Skeptards and the true believer alien people, but I don't think it's even worth it. The reason you might say, Ashton, aren't you being too harsh? Some people say, Ashton, everybody's trying to achieve the same goal. We're all trying to achieve the same goal. And I would say, if you look at the people I attack, you'll see there are specific reasons. And I'm very nice to the people that, honestly, I think are trying their best. They're trying their best. They're doing the Tony Romo thing. They're going for 2. They're taking it themselves. They're trying their best, and they fumble on the 1-yard line, right? Sometimes failure is the best you could do. That's fine, though. I'm not going to go at them, right? And that's what I would think most of these UFO people are at. Here's the problem I have with the Jeremy Corbells and what have you. Yes, exactly. Ashton, aren't you being a little too harsh? They have better footage. In fact, now I'm like, how many videos exactly does Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp have? Do they have like dozens of these? These are FLIR videos. Where are they getting these from? And how come they're all so low quality? Are there better ones that just aren't being approved by the government? What exactly is happening behind the scenes related to these videos? At this point, that's what people should be demanding. If you are now just sitting here getting strung along by Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and their little weaponized thing, at this point, you are the puppet at this point. Because the question people should be asking, and that's the distraction. The question is, bro, where are you getting these videos of? That you could easily call that a drone, what we just looked at, right? Easily call that a drone, and it'd be the truth. Where are you getting these videos from? Who and why are you vetting them with? And what are the criteria for whether or not something breaks national security? Because I see numbers all over the screen on this thing. There's numbers everywhere, so it feels like you're giving away sources and methods to me. So are you saying that footage is obsolete, that those systems are obsolete now? I'm just saying, guys, these are questions that the smart, high IQ people should be asking about this whole situation. Because I'm starting to agree, the conspiracy theorists, that they're going to be like, oh, the aliens are coming, everyone. Here come the aliens. And it may be true, but it also could easily be BS. Okay. That's enough attention for that. Let me know when they drop another video next week of it's good. The next one, guys, if I call this, by the way, then I don't even know. The apology forms won't even be enough. If these guys have a video of orbs in any formation coming together and disappearing, just disappearing, like they were there and then they're not there anymore. And it's high quality enough that we can tell that it's unlikely to be edited or fake. I mean, we can tell by looking at those videos, they're clearly real FLIR videos. I'm going to go completely apeshit on Jeremy Corbell and the rest of those guys. I will just go straight up destroy them. Same thing that I said about Shawn Ryan. If it turns out they got videos of objects getting teleported or disappearing, every single live stream will be dedicated to tearing those guys down. And it will be with good cause, because they're the exact same kind of virtue signaling hypocrite that I cannot stand. The kind that's like, we're here to get you some disclosure, but they're gatekeeping the whole time. They're actually literally the gatekeepers. Like, there's no other gatekeepers. The people that have the videos and are determining what videos get released, those are the gatekeepers in the UFO community. Absolutely wild to me. Telling you which information, what you're worthy to see, working with the government to let you know. Honestly, that UFO community, they need me. They need me to just burn everything to the ground at this point. They've clearly been infiltrated by the, intelligence community. They're being orchestrated. The Pied Piper, Peter Piper, is just blowing his whistle, leading them along down the path wherever they want. Now, let's switch it up a second, and then we're going to talk about some covert action. Oh, let's save Diego Garcia, chat. So, actually, I already spoke about Diego Garcia, but I do just want to give a quick shout out to my GOAT, my Senator GOAT, Senator John Kennedy. Senator John Kennedy is not just funny, which he is hilarious, but he also loves our government and loves democracy. And he wants Diego Garcia to be in our hands. It makes a lot of sense. And he is basically the only one who's been saying this for over a year and a half. In fact, I was surprised to see anybody speaking up about why we're letting the UK government give the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, some country that's like, I don't know, a few hundreds of miles away. Why are we doing any of this? The whole thing seems like virtue signaling. Like, oh, we got to do the right thing because we killed a bunch of islanders like 50 or like 75 years ago. I'm sorry, but who cares? It was a long time ago, and now we have a secret base there with maybe some orbs at it. We got priorities, and one of them isn't giving our island with military base on it to some random country, especially one that China has influence over. So he makes a lot of really good points, and it needs to be driven home to people. So let me pull up this clip of him. This is the one from last year. This guy, I love this guy, man. I love the way he talks. I love everything about him. This is the Chagos Islands.
President, as you well know, one of the most important parts of the world.
I'm gonna work on my accent. This is the Chagos Islands. This is the most important part of the world. I'm gonna work on it, chat. I'm gonna become the best John Kennedy impersonator.
World. Here's China. Here's India. China's trying to dominate all of these sea lanes. Here in the middle of the Indian Ocean is a group of islands called the Chagos Islands. America has a military base, Diego Garcia. It is an extraordinarily important military base. One of the few in the world where our military can reload submarines, houses a number of Navy ships. Our military base there houses long-range bombers that we use to carry out missions around the world. We have to work hard every day.
Chat, missions, air quote,
to police our military base.
By the way, it took me like an hour to edit this down from like 20 minutes down to like 2 minutes. This man knows how to talk.
Just the base itself, but the land, or rather the water surrounding it. because China knows how important this military base is. The United Nations is saying, United Kingdom, you bad people, give the Chagos Islands back. And President Biden could stop it. And so could Vice President Harris. But they're for it. All in an effort to curry favor with the people at the United Nations.
I want to stop there. Number one, just to hate on Kamala Harris voters one more time. What in the hell were you thinking? She literally sounds like she's drunk all the time. I would be drinking the hugest martinis ever when I would slur my speech. What's her excuse? How many Franzias did she have before she spoke at Howard or wherever else she's been speaking? The historically black universities that she does, even though she's like Indian and not even black. If you're being scanned, also, can you imagine how bad of a spot we would be if she was president right now? Number one, I might be dead. Number two, she's literally an idiot. She might be one of the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Maybe even dumber than George Bush Jr. You seriously have to wonder how people are willing to look past someone just being a complete idiot and a drunken fool. They're like, nope, that's great. She's a woman. She's a woman of color. I'm going to vote for her anyway. Okay. Number two, he's being truthful here. He's saying the only reason why anyone's letting this happen, we want to curry favor with the UN. Chat, curry favor with the UN? We're going to give up the safety and security of one of our most advanced military bases, secret military base, to curry favor with the UN. Here's a different option. Fuck the UN. We got plasma orbs and teleportation technology. Who gives a shit about what the UN wants or what the UN thinks? They can go ahead. They can fuck off. We're going to go ahead and take Greenland. We're going to go ahead and just do whatever we want with Venezuela. We're coming for Iran right now. Right now, we're coming for Iran. Do we care what the UN thinks about this? This is why I just can't stand liberal geopolitics. You've got this power, and you're not even going to use it. And this is the real reason why I hate this more than any other. This kind of weakness trickles down in why we live in squalor as Americans when we should be the richest country on earth. Because our leaders make stupid ass decisions. Stupid decisions. Instead of smart ones that would help us all out. Okay, here we go. Anyway, this is the best part.
Who walk around with their NPR tote bags and their organic broccoli. Why on God's green earth would we do that? China, of course, is delighted because, number one, China's already started currying favor with Mauritius. Mauritius will now be in charge of the security of the Chagos Islands and our military base and the water surrounding it. President Trump, please pick up the phone and call the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and say, don't sign that treaty.
Let's just be real. If we don't want that to go through, that's not going to go through. That's not going to happen. If President Trump calls up, well, you think they're going to care about, oh, no, we got to honor our deal. We already signed that deal. We got to honor that. Some people are telling me, like, the deal's already done, Ashton. Oh, sorry, the deal's already done. Bitch, please, are you not listening to a word I'm saying? We got magical Harry Potter, Iron Man, Marvel, Jarvis orbs that can teleport airplanes. There is no deals that are done. All deals can be undone. One phone call, deal's undone. Make it happen. John Kennedy and myself will be taking the credit. So later on, I don't want to hear any, Ashton, you have such a big ego. Why are you taking the credit for saving Diego Garcia? Well, you show me anybody else out there that's trying to save our secret military base with magical orbs. You show me anybody. Okay, I'm trying not to laugh, Chad. You're making it impossible. Okay, I do want to point out, let's just play 1 minute in the new one. I could try to find the original of the that was the old clip of him. I watched part of the new one. It's not nearly as funny, but it does start. Let me see if this is where it starts.
So I'm asking you, Prime Minister Starmer, I shouldn't have said what I said. Your testicles aren't on back order from Amazon. I'm going to take it back.
I shouldn't have said what I said. Your testicles aren't on backwards. I take it back. I mean, chat. He's easily the best. Is there even a next best senator? It can't be. Number one. Ashton tier list of senators, S+ tier, in a class of his own, if we're just being honest. You got to know how to troll at that level. You know? And he comes with the board every time. It's the same board from last year. So much respect for this man's game. He's on point at every level. His drip game is on point. His joke game is on point. And he knows they're all retards. He knows they're all retarded in the government. So he brings a giant board, giant visual. Here you go, dum-dums. Here you go, dum-dums. This is what we're talking about. Giant, put a big marker on it so you know what we're talking about. Diego Garcia, here's where it is in the world. Here's where China is so you understand how geography works. Some of these people literally probably couldn't pass school. So, you know, it's needed. It's needed.
Please do the right thing here. If you're determined to give away these islands to Mauritius, which never owned them, which inevitably is going to help China, if you're determined to divest the people of the United Kingdom of these islands, please sell them to the United States. I will sponsor the legislation happily, enthusiastically, to appropriate the money to do it. And then the United Kingdom can be out of the picture, and the United States can continue to control one of the mightiest and most important military bases in all of human history.
Whoa! And he comes with a based-ass idea? He's like, hey, we'll just buy it instead. I don't know how much this shit is worth, but we can afford it. I guaranteed we can afford it. We got magic plasma orbs. Let's just say we can afford it. So, you know what? Just put a number on the paper, and we'll be taking those islands now. In fact, I'm all in on this. I'm all in on this. We're getting the Chagos Islands now. We're getting the Chagos Islands. No, before, the deals have changed. You said the deal couldn't be altered. You said the deal was done. Nope. Now we're buying the Chagos Islands. Not only is it not being sold, UK is going to give it to us now. We just want to express our dominance over literally every country in the world. Imagine bitching the UK so hard that now they got to give it to us. Sorry, it's our base on there. You were going to give it to some third worlders. You were going to give our super secret military base land to some third worlders. And we said, no, I don't care about your dumb politics. Bye. Thank you. Anyway, at the beginning of that video, I love that not only does Kennedy come up with a great recommendation, but at the beginning, he knows he's talking to idiots. He knows he has to treat them like literal kindergartners. He starts with, this is the Chagos Islands. I lost it. I lost it. He gets me, chat. The man, there's some people I listen to, and they just touch my funny bone in a way that no others do. He knows it's just situational comedy, right? He knows he's got to really dumb it down for them. He knows he's got to go through step by step and really just explain why this matters. You know, so much respect for him. And I love it. And I think you should keep up the great work. Keep treating these political world leaders and other fellow senators like they're 4 years old. That's basically where their mentality is. Great job, sir. Bravo to you. Okay. Oh, is that your pick? Okay, I was going to give you credit. Spider Bloke. Thank you very much for reminding me. I was not trying to diss you. Spider Bloke is the one that made the thumbnail for today. So go ahead, give him a shout out, give him a follow on X, Twitter, whatever, or on YouTube as well. Because that thumbnail, he said that he made it for us. So I went ahead and added it to the thumbnail. I thought it was a really good image and just kind of fun in general. I love little collage images like that. So thank you very much, good sir. I appreciate you. Okay. Back to the task at hand, fam. CIA exposing these MFers. And some of you may say, Ashton, are you leading us on? Are you running out of content and you are trying to say you're not going to expose the CIA? You know, you're just trying to say that you're going to expose the CIA, but no, you're not going to do any of that. There's no way. Why doth thou doubt me, chat? Why doth thou doubteth me? Unfortunately, today's exposé has already passed from this world in 2020. But meet Frank Archibald. He retired from the CIA in 2015 as the Director of National Clandestine Services, an assignment in which he led all of the CIA's operations worldwide. His 31 years of CIA service included assignments really everywhere. He held senior assignments at CIA headquarters in counterterrorism and counterintelligence. He is a recipient of the CIA's highest awards, the Distinguished Intelligence Cross. He was the man that would have been in charge of the MH370 operation in 2014 from the CIA perspective. How did I find this? Well, that's a fun story. And that's what I wanted to go with you on tonight's stream. So before we dig into that, though, I just wanted to prove that I wasn't bullshitting you. Before we dig into all of that, I want to share this clip of Dan Bongino, which I think is relevant because he's talking about the New Jersey drone incident from, when was that, like a year ago? Kind of forgot about that already at this point. So let me pull this up. When did that start? 2/7/27. Something around here. I think it's somewhere around here. Okay, here we go. This is the first time I've shared a Rumble video. Let's see how this works. You guys can see this, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. Let's
get that computer in the kitchen. You're going to get an extinction burst of behavior, but it's worth it. So we talked about that. But I want to talk about something else here too. Folks, the drone thread. Guy thinks this video clip, not this one.
Oh, hold up. Hold up. The drone threat. Keep in mind, this is the former deputy director of the FBI from like a few weeks ago, now saying he is interested in the drone threat. Okay, now I'm super interested. You had my curiosity, sir, but now you have my attention. Continue, please, good sir.
The one I'm going to play in a minute here is the most interesting part of the show. I think so too. So I don't know. We'll see what you think. Tell me in the chat. Folks, the drone threat is a level 10 threat. And it's a threat for obvious reasons.
What's the scale of that? Is that out of 100? Was that 10 out of 10? 10 out of what? 10 out of 10 sounds like a pretty big threat level to me. Okay.
I've spoken about it many times before. I'm going to give you a few reasons now. The threat from the air by drone attack in the United States and on our forces overseas is a level 10 threat. Believe me, people are very focused on it now. I can't speak about prior administrations because I didn't see a lot of movement, but I promise you, the president, Sebastian Gorka, has done amazing work at this at the White House. Cash and me worked on it. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, all over this problem through Golden Dome. But the threat is real.
Whoa. Pause, chat. So I'm trying to understand the context here. He's saying Pete Hegseth, the Department of War, Kash Patel, head director of the FBI, president of the United States, they're all interested in this. But then he just randomly just says the words Golden Dome. Why did he just say the words Golden Dome right there? That is pretty interesting. The reason why that's interesting, guys, because we're starting to put things together now. We're seeing these orbs that they use, and we're realizing it's not aliens. It's like we've got some weird Harry Potter magic shit going on. But we've turned it, science just got smart, basically. Science got upgraded. And now we're wondering, well, other people can make this kind of stuff. And how would you stop this kind of stuff? Like when people ask me, they say, Ashton, how do you, if that's a drone, those plasma things, if those are a drone, how do you stop that? Because you probably can't use conventional projectiles. It's just going to go right through it, like we saw with the Burleson video. And my answer is simple, EMP. You should use an electromagnetic pulse to knock that thing out of the sky. That's your best bet. And if that can't stop it, probably nothing can. The only other thing that could would be another gravitational manipulation type of weapon. So these drones are very serious and a very big threat. And just to remind people, anti-gravity, fusion, these concepts that I talk about, it's not magic. It's not alien physics. It's actually just normal physics, just intelligent application of normal physics. That's all it really is. Okay, let's let him keep going.
It's not a matter of if, but a matter of when there is an attack over here that resembles what Ukraine did in Russia. It's only a matter of what Russia does in Ukraine too with drones. It's only a matter of time. And here's why I'm so concerned about this on show 3 I want to talk about. Number one, it's an asymmetric fight.
Sorry, he brings a lot of good points up, and that's another one that I need to bring up that he just mentioned. I've actually mentioned this before. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. I think a lot of you, especially the younger people, if you were a baby or born after 9/11 happened, you probably don't have the vulnerable feeling that those of us that went through a 9/11 style event feel. Whether or not, whatever you believed happened on 9/11, the feeling we all got from it was that we are vulnerable, that our pretty perfect world where nothing could go wrong was shattered right before us. That's what Bongino is saying right here. Why was it shattered? We're going to go with the official narrative. Forgive me for tonight. Our world was shattered because we realized all it took was some third worlders with box cutters to hijack our planes and fly them into our buildings, and they could wipe out major parts of major cities. It was a low technology attack, and we were just vulnerable for it. We weren't even looking out for it. We weren't even thinking about it. If we had been thinking about it, we could have put in a million different preventative measures that could have stopped it. And this is going to happen again. This is going to happen with the drone situation. Because look at those orbs in the MH370 videos. Can you imagine if Iran had those orbs, even now, even today? If they could just wipe out a civilian airliner whenever they want and there's just nothing left behind? They could send it anywhere they want. Maybe to another dimension, who knows? Dude, that's the kind of attack that people aren't going to be ready for. They're going to be able to deploy a nuke instantly onto a city. That's just an example of the kind of atrocity that could occur that people wouldn't even be able to wrap their brain around. They'd be like, how did a nuke get in the middle of the city? And the answer would be it didn't. It just got warped there and then detonated. And the world would have no idea. We should be, and Bongino in a second here, I'm going to let the rest of this clip play out, but this was, I think, one of the most important pieces. He talks about, like, well, you know, in Russia and Ukraine, we see like grenades getting dropped on people. Look, I'm not afraid of grenades getting dropped on people by drones. Sure, it's a possibility, but it's like a very low scope terrorist attack. I'm worried about a whole city getting hit by a nuke, or, you know, major infrastructure getting taken out by a drone attack. Something that impacts like huge amounts of people, right? Major events. Okay, here he goes.
Right. The technology right now to take down some of these drones is way more expensive than the production costs of producing some shitty drones, putting like a clamp on it and dropping a grenade somewhere. I'm just throwing out numbers. It may cost $10,000 to mitigate it and $100 to create the drone. It's an asymmetric money fight right now. The technology is getting better. So I don't want to scare anyone, but it's not fully there yet. Second, I'll go right into it. The technology cycle. When you talk to experts on the battlefield, which I did a lot of, I was obsessed with the drone problem when I got in there. The technology life cycle from drone to...
Keep in mind, guys, I try to teach you to be smart. And I'll teach you to think like the CIA. You want to learn about people. And what did Dan Bongino just gave us information about himself? He said, I was obsessed with the drone problem. I will learn everything about the drone problem. Well, Dan Bongino follows me as well. And yes, it's probably mostly in part to do to me dunking on the woke right retards. But he sees the crazy shit I post. Could easily just unfollow me if he was not interested. And I'm talking about this kind of technology and this kind of thing. In fact, he liked my reply post about the drone comment here, which is what led me to go watch this clip. So I don't think, I can already just tell based on what he just said right there that he doesn't know. It's not like he doesn't have inside information about our black projects or anything like that. But he can probably tell from context of conversation that he's been in with Pete Hegseth, with the president, that there's next level drone technology being deployed and developed by us and our adversaries. And then you would say, well, how do you stop this? EMPs. But we don't really have the countermeasures mass available for that. He's saying that the countermeasures to stop these things is a lot more expensive than it is to produce them. And they're going to be difficult to take down. I haven't been that much exposed to Dan Bongino except for the last couple months, but I like everything he's saying here. And I heard his arguments about the Epstein files, and it was perfect. It was exactly what I told you guys he was going to say, was that there's stuff out there, but there's nothing that's actionable. There's no list that's out there. Literally, by the way, I'm going to go side rant here. Epstein side rant. 57 minutes in. Here you go. I told you guys that those files were not going to have anything actionable. No one was going to jail over it. 3 million files have been released. There's no list. List doesn't exist. People are taking victory laps about how now the list has been, the people have been exposed. Guys, there's nothing actionable in there. Random emails aren't good enough. Even if they said something weird in the email, that's still not good enough. Might be good enough for your blog. Might be good enough for your YouTube video. It's not good enough for legal action. So Dan Bongino explains that situation. Still says that he saw horrible stuff in the, evidence to the FBI, and there is, horrible things that are happening and things that are being covered up. We know that. So I like that. I think that people are generally very critical that have never had real jobs in their life, never had real responsibility in their lives. And the last thing I'll say on this is any of the people that were hating on Dan Bongino saying like, oh, you're covering up for these people, whatever. If you were in that role, you wouldn't have gotten anything either. You would have gotten less. You'd have gotten less. So stop pretending like, it's always criticism without anybody realizing what it actually takes to get information that they're trying to hide, if they were trying to hide it. Okay. So I support Bongino. Go ahead.
To drone interdiction technology, to overcoming the interdiction technology in the drone. You get what I mean? Create a drone. We create a way to stop a drone. Well, we're going to create a way to stop the thing you're stopping the drone with. Sometimes it's as little as 3 to 4 weeks. In other words, the second you get a technology, they just figure out a way around it. You disrupt radio frequencies. They work off the phone grids. Then they use fiber optic line guided drones. There's 1,000 different ways to get around it. So you have a technology problem, an asymmetric money problem, and you have the easiest one in the world, which should seem obvious. Human beings can't fly. So you get a problem on the ground, like a robot drone dog. You could take it out on the ground, disarm it, approach it. You can't fly. I mean, I think that's fairly obvious. It creates a problem. What do? We got to find another thing that flies to interdict the thing that flies because it ain't us. It is a really serious problem. I bring it up because I was putting together the show yesterday. I was watching some clips on Fox, and I saw John Roberts and the great Caroline Levitt, our amazing press secretary. I saw them talking about another attempted drone hit from Iran on one of our ships. Here's what they said about it. Check this out.
CENTCOM confirms that a U.S. F-35 fighter jet shot down an Iranian Shahed drone that was making an aggressive approach toward the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Watch what happens when a 50-year-old man walks DHT naturally for just 90 days.
Oh my God. Sorry, chat. You can't even mute this. Rumble.
Day on the same day that a couple of Iranian gunboats were threatened.
Okay, well, what I was going to say right there, but before we finish the rest of this clip, I did not know about this. And now every time I hear the word drone, I'm always wondering, what does that look like? They're clearly using this word drone to cover for a wide swath of possible devices. And that makes me suspicious. Because, yes, it could just be an ordinary jank Target Walmart drone or whatever they got up the street. But it could also be some kind of plasma orb, because especially now, we just had another video released today from 2021 that seems to show something, maybe plasma orb. If they're shooting stuff like that down, of course you would just call it, we shot a drone down. Can we see the video of shooting this drone on? No, why not? You're showing us other random videos. We can't see the videos of this. Come on.
A U.S. flagged tanker in the Gulf of the Persian Gulf, threatening to board it. So what is going on, to the best of your knowledge, and what is the president going to do about what appear to be some threatening moves being made by Iran, even as Steve Witkoff prepares to meet with the foreign minister, Araghchi, either in Oman or Turkey on Friday?
Well, sure, John, and thank you for having me today. I did speak with folks over at the Pentagon this morning who said that CENTCOM acted both appropriately and necessarily to protect our U.S. personnel and equipment in the region. So CENTCOM did make the decision to shoot down that Iranian drone.
Okay.
Now, in light of what I told you in the beginning of the show, when I was talking about the 764 threat and pedophiles and child molesters, everyone trying to recruit your kids in chat rooms.
And by the way, I mean, people are trying to say, Dan Bongino is trying to protect pedophiles. No, I think he's attacking the right things. You want to stop pedophiles, it's like the chat rooms, this Roblox game apparently exists. Saw some weird mods they were putting for that. Those are the areas where they're going to be going after your kids if you want to stop pedophiles. So that's the right area to be going. And by the way, of course, Epstein was guilty. The problem isn't that he went to prison. He went to prison. The problem with Epstein is, how do you prove anybody else was in there or involved? Because the problem is, when I say there's no list, guys, I think that sometimes I worry about the low IQ people. I'm not saying that there were no victims. I'm saying that nobody kept a list of, here's the people to go arrest. These are the people you want to get. There's $700 for this person, for this girl. There's no paper trail there. You can't just be like, oh, you talked to Epstein, therefore you're going to jail. I swear, some people just don't understand how the world works. And this is probably the same people that think Tyler Robinson's somehow innocent, even though we've got like him dead to rights with text messages. They just think that's fake. Anyway, whatever. Okay. Last bit.
That the way to stop everything is put the FBI and cops in every chat room in America and watch everything all the time. But we don't want that.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's all he was going to talk about there. Never mind. I'll look back, but I think I got to the main points on the drone thing. I was just going to see if he was going to say anything else about EMPs there. But if he knows more about the stuff, he can't talk about it. Keep in mind the secrecy involved in this. And that brings us to what I wanted to mainly go over tonight, which is the secrecy and how these covert operations work and how we build up to Frank Archibald being involved in this. So let's start here. Just asking around Grok for some of the information, provided quite a bit, and gave me this document. Actually, it's recent. Michael Elmer, September 21st, 2025, a guide to covert action. Now, like I told you, it's very important to understand how these covert actions operate. So I'm going to go through some of the points here. Covert action, covert operation. The goals of these are basically to help our government out through action of our state. I mean, seems pretty obvious, but there you go. It says, covert action aims to pursue goals of the state by intervening in another state's action or means. Although the terms covert and clandestine are often interchangeable, that's a contextual error. Clandestine translates into an activity done in secret and undetected. So clandestine operation is a secret operation. Covert actions are primarily concerned with plausible deniability, therefore outside the public purview, not yet required to be undiscoverable by the target state. Now, already, if you're a smart person, you should be listening to this and you should be going, wait, everything's like defined down to this granular level? Yes. This is how the government works. Everything is codified in the government. Even their little clandestine operations, even the way they cover up the operations. Everything has to be spelled out on what they're allowed to do and how they're allowed to do it. So what this means, and this is what the conspiratards struggle with. In their minds, government is this all-powerful, unanimous, this entity, not individuals, just this entity, and it just does what it wants. There's no rules. It can just do whatever they want. You need to understand that's not the case. From your perspective, it might seem like they're doing whatever they want. And yes, they have a huge amount of powers to do that, but they are operating within a certain set of rules. Okay. Types of action, propaganda. You guys know all about propaganda. Covert propaganda. White propaganda, truthful and clear messaging, does not require spin. Gray propaganda. Propaganda that is neither honest nor outright a lie. Or black propaganda, pure disinformation. Now, this is interesting. Propaganda comes up with MH370. There were at least 2 suspicious situations. One, I would say confirmed. The attempted debunk of the MH370 videos using the Gorgon Stare whammy photos. The CIA, probably the CIA, I guess, they're the ones who are doing all this, it seems like. We'll get to that, though. They took the Gorgon Stare imagery, and I don't know if they edited them, or if they were originally like that, but I think they edited them at least slightly and added them to this CG Textures, textures.com website after the videos leaked, to make it look like later on, if these videos ever got found out, they knew the videos leaked. They hatched a plan. They said, oh, these videos leaked on the internet. What are we going to do in case anybody finds these videos or thinks that they're real? We will put some disinformation on the internet. False information used to cover the tracks of the fact that videos leaked on the internet. The other situation that happened was one we talked about a year ago, I want to say, maybe less, where a piece of debris from MH370 washed ashore in Thailand. And it was pretty obviously a piece of it from MH370 because it had very specific, it actually had a serial number on it, American serial numbers on it. There was a giant piece, I think, of the one of the like engine cowlings or something like that. Huge piece. Had to be from MH370. Suddenly, some random sketchy account says, oh, I found this super obscure website blog where a guy's talking about how he was inside Mitsubishi's rocket lab taking photos. And hey, look, there's the exact little bolts that we see on this piece of debris in these photos that are on the internet. These exact bolts seem to match. So this means that this is actually a piece of rocket debris from a Japanese rocket 4,000 miles away. And people are like, oh, yeah, that's debunked. That's not a piece from MH370. Don't look at that anymore. Everything I just told you is 100% true, by the way. Super weird. So, 2 possible incidences where propaganda was used in the MH370 situation. And I'm sure there was more. Political action methods. I want to get to the interesting part. You can do economic actions. So this is all stuff we expect. Paramilitary operations. Paramilitary operations is the most hands-on type of covert action. It's a type of action that brings the third operation closest to the second, military. In essence, such operations are generally tied to unconventional and irregular warfare, and they're generally conducted by special operations capable forces, such as the CIA's Special Activities Center, Special Operations Command, SOCOM, and Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC units. Woo! Now we're getting down to the spice now. Let's just let it keep going, and then we'll start talking about what this all means. But we are over the target when it comes to who is responsible for MH370. I told you guys, CIA, Air Force, Special Forces, Department of Energy. The question is, which special forces are involved? But at this point, we've already spoken about it. Admiral William McRaven was the commander of SOCOM. So if the CIA called in for any special forces to be involved, Admiral William McRaven was there. He was the one that was involved with that. Now, also, when I asked publicly on Twitter Robert O'Neill what his opinion was of what Admiral William McRaven, he said he was the best commander he ever worked for. It was almost so over the top praising that it seemed suspicious. Like, I was like, hey, this guy's a murderer. What do you think? You're like, oh, this dude's the greatest person I've ever met in my whole life. You're like, huh? Okay. Gotcha. Okay. You guys can go find that tweet probably if you're interested. I'm not going to dig through it. I don't care that much. So what are they going to try to do? Depending on the mission, there may not need to be a deployment of such units. In fact, some of the more sensitive paramilitary operations are best conducted without any U.S. personnel, as the presence can jeopardize plausible deniability. So now, keep in mind, we've got 2 drones around MH370. We've got one at the top flying over it, much higher, and we've got one at the same altitude level. There doesn't necessarily have to be other objects there, other planes there, but we do have these orbs coming out of seemingly nowhere. So presumably something deployed those. There might be a command plane. There might have been planes that were hacking MH370. Might have been remote controlling it. To me, I would say it's extremely likely there were other assets in the area. Remember, why did Edward Lynn crop? Why did he crop the drone out of the Gorgon Stair whammy footage? The drone is like right out of view at the start of the Gorgon Stair whammy footage. And that footage is pre-recorded that he can manipulate and record after. He did a screen recording while he was manipulating. He cropped the drone out because he didn't want people to see the assets. He wasn't trying to expose all the assets that were involved in the operation, which means it's very possible there were other assets in the operation as well. Very possible. Okay. Examples of operations: assassinations, coup d'etat, trainings, drone strikes. I just thought that was interesting that was there. Cyber warfare, the ladder of clandestine operations. So they're ordered to send according to ascending levels of risk. So how do they do this? There's different thresholds. First threshold, routine operations. These are actions that are relatively small and low risk. Second threshold is modest intrusions. These actions raise the level of intensity yet are overall modest in scale. Third, high risk operations. It's already said in the name. These actions have high risk, high level of dedication for all involved parties. The last one, extreme operations. These are operations that carry the most risk, highest potential to do severe damage to U.S. national security in the event of exposure. And they require the most resources and funding to execute. I'm going to go ahead and say that MH370 is going to be an extreme operation. If you're going to go ahead and disappear a Boeing 777, a commercial airliner, to dunk on China or whatever, the level of risk there is about as high as it can possibly get. that gets exposed, and you're looking at like Geneva Convention war crimes charges coming your way. I mean, we'll make that go away, but you get the point. Now, this is important because now here are examples. Everybody wonders, what are the types of actions that the CIA is going to do? Also, somewhere in here it repeats, I may have skipped over it a little too fast, but it repeats that the president is the one that decides the policy. The CIA cannot go rogue. They're the ones that will say, here are the policy options, and then the president chooses the policy, and that's why they take the actions. In fact, at this point, it seems almost impossible that Obama he had to be the one that greenlit the MH370 operation. It's almost impossible that he was not involved. The VPU2 Wizards that's their area. Yeah, so what if he just accidentally saw it? I think that Edward Lynn accidentally saw it, had access to the videos, maybe even shouldn't have had access. He saw it, and he's like, holy shit. And he just freaks out. That's why they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him because it wasn't intentional. Anyway, I'm going to read through these. This is probably part of the most revealing part for tonight, for me at least, because these are examples of the types of actions and their category, their ranking in the risk scale. Number one, truthful, benign propaganda aimed at U.S. non-democratic adversaries. Number two, truthful but contentious propaganda aimed at U.S. non-democratic adversaries. Number three, false propaganda aimed at U.S. non-democratic adversaries. So false propaganda aimed at adversaries is the lowest level of risk. Truthful, benign propaganda aimed at neutral parties. So you get where this is going, right? Truthful propaganda at neutral parties, truthful propaganda at adversary parties. You can already kind of guess where this is about to go, right? What about propaganda aimed at allies? We'll get to it. We'll get to it. CIA security advisement to pro-Western nations seeking counterintelligence. CIA security advisement to neutral nations seeking counterintelligence guidance. Political and economic counsel. Okay, don't care. Now, next highest. Now we get to the next threshold, modest. So these are the types of things that they would do at these thresholds. Intensified false propaganda aimed at U.S. non-democratic adversaries. False propaganda aimed at neutral nations. So now the false propaganda aimed at neutral nations is a higher threshold. The lowest threshold, the false propaganda can only be aimed at adversary nations. This is what I'm telling you guys. There's a whole fucking tier list for how much they're allowed to lie. Like, if you lie to your allies, it's going to be the higher ranking than lying to your adversaries. So it becomes harder and harder for them to justify these actions, progressively more difficult to justify these actions. Also, big shout out to my favorite number one CIA spook, Ron Pandolfi. Ron Pandolfi, boo. I love you too, boo. I know you're obsessed with me. I know you dream about me every night and the orbs and whether or not I'm going to expose the CIA. This stream's for you, buddy. Okay. Truthful, benign propaganda aimed at fellow democratic nations. Here you go. And again, what does this come down to? It all comes back to communism. Chat, I don't want to hear anybody ever in a million years doubt my patriotism. In fact, I might even risk being copyright striked. In fact, I'm going to. Here we go. We're doing it right now. This is to my goat. This is to my goat, Liberty Prime.
Warning. Red Chinese orbital strike imminent. All personnel should reach minimum safe distance.
Run!
Immediately.
Liberty Prime, run!
Catastrophic system failure. Initiating core shutdown as per emergency initiative 2682209.
The day democracy died.
die so that democracy may.
Those bastard red Chinese. How dare.
Memorial site recognized. Patriotism subroutines engaged. Honoring the fallen is the duty of every red-blooded American.
Chat. Please, respectfully, a moment of silence for the most patriotic machine ever built in the wastelands. Liberty Prime. Absolute epitome of all American exceptionalism. Japan could build another 1,000 Gundams, and they could never even come close to even achieving a fraction of the power that we instilled in the ultimate American machine known as Liberty Prime. My goat. Pour a little out for you, my goat. I don't even know what we were talking about. I'm all teared up now. Okay. Back to exposing the CIA now, guys. We had to go on a little sidetrack because that's actually important. No cap for a second. The thing literally mentions whether or not the adversary nation is democratic or not. If you're a communist country, basically you don't have any rights to our CIA. We basically downgrade you below dirt if you are a communist country. So Liberty Prime, Liberty Prime's just, you might not like it, but he wasn't just dropping mini nukes. He was dropping truth nukes as well. Holy shit. That's one of the best clips ever, chat. Okay. Whew, here we go. More stuff. Low-level funding for overthrowing governments. Okay, tier 3. Now it starts to get spicy. Yeah, America. Yeah. High-risk operations. Truthful yet contentious propaganda aimed at friends. Why friend-shaped, if not friend? Moderate increases in funding for allies. Large increases in funding. So basically, we can just start paying people now. I thought this one was interesting. Everybody talks about the CIA funding things. That they can do that. It says right there. High-risk operation. We can just fund drug, narco traffickers, whatever the bullshit we want to do. Military guidance to the neutral nation so we can guide military people. Okay, cool. Operations that have a price tag above $5 million. This is another interesting point. They have a tier. They have a tier where now the price of your operation, the MH370 operation was almost certainly over $5 million. Almost certainly. Maybe they got it for cheap. Maybe they went to the Walmart. They got the cheap Walmart operation, but I doubt it. Good to know. $5 million. Joint operations. So again, this could be a situation where we have joint military and CIA operations. Operations targeted against a nation or organization that resulted in significant prior failures. Now, when I read this, maybe I'm just reading this wrong. This almost reads to me like if you ever beat us, then we're going to come back twice as hard at you next time. Pretty crazy. Operations that target a particularly dangerous nation. Operations carried out against a dangerous nation. Economic disruptions without loss of life. Limited arms supplies. Okay, let's skip through that. False propaganda aimed at fellow democratic nations. Wow. That's how little we think of our allies. You're not even the highest risk tier in our CIA. Lying to our friends with completely fake information is only a tier 3 risk, not even an extreme risk. So when people say like Ashton, well, they wouldn't plant whammy footage to discredit some videos. They wouldn't make a fake website to make people think that MH370 debris is from some Japanese rocket. Yes, they would. Yes, they would, chat. They probably do way worse shit than that. Okay. So more funding, sophisticated arms supplies, sophisticated supply of advanced weaponry provided to neutral nations. Why does it say advanced weaponry? I don't really think this is like giving people orbs, but it just makes me uncomfortable the way they phrased it. Propaganda aimed at inciting rebellion. CIA officers directly involved in paramilitary operations within a neutral country. Okay, well, now we're bordering the line of talking about MH370 situations. That's probably the line where we're now talking MH370 videos type situation. Okay, this is what you guys came here for. The major thresholds. Major hostage rescue attempts, hostage taking and snatch operations. Venezuela, anybody? Venezuela was definitely a highest tier CIA operation. Extreme risk. Supply of advanced weaponry, limited cyber attacks, limited environmental alterations, including cloud seeding, major environmental operations, major economic dislocations, small coup d'etat, assassination of suspected terrorists. That could qualify. Use of CIA drones or other violent means to target for death high-ranking public officials overseas, in contrast to uniformed soldiers and terrorists. Holy shit, chat. They could have used that to justify MH370. That sounds really familiar. Because here's the whole point. Where's the line between targeting military combatants and just like engineers? And that's the line right there. They're saying that if you're going to target civilian airliners, it's an extreme operation. I mean, because those people are probably dead. And even if you didn't start the fire and kill those people, which they knew they were going to die, then you couldn't imagine that orb teleportation shit. There's no guarantee those people are surviving that. So this has to be this level of risk. Starting to get dark now, chat. Starting to get dark now. So major secret coup d'etats, major cyber attacks against powerful foreign governments, a defiance of U.S. law governing covert actions. Is it the words say the same thing on your screen they say on mine? A defiance of U.S. law governing covert actions. That sounds like they can just disobey the law. That when we do an extreme operation, the law no longer matters. This is actually, I actually don't even remember reading this before this live stream. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking to Dr. Greer. Do you guys watch my October Dr. Greer interview? Watch it. I say they've covered themselves from a legal standpoint. If this were to come out, they'll say, well, it was an extreme operation, and therefore we are allowed to defy the laws about what's legal and what's not legal. What's a humanitarian risk? I mean, we targeted a civilian airliner. How are you going to justify that? That's how. That's how right there. An assault on the U.S. Constitution. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this one. It triggers me so much. And I'm going to be triggered if I talk about it. So let's just go past that one for the moment. Violence targeted against innocent civilians, torture against anyone, and other gross violations of human rights. Well, chat, turns out conspiracy theorists were right again. In fact, conspiracy theorists haven't been wrong in a long time. At least if you're the kind of conspiracy theorist that follows MH370, you haven't been wrong in a long, long, long time. Can't remember the last time we were wrong. CIA can justify, if it's an extreme operation that's been given approval, innocent life doesn't matter. You are just a cow to them, chat. You're just the goyim. You are the goyim sheep. And this is why you don't get the fusion and the free energies. You're not worthy in their eyes. What do you think the last one is? I mean, it's right there on the screen, but for the people that are listening, the last highest risk extreme operation criteria. Get ready for it. The use of NBC, nuclear, biological, or chemical and radiological weapons. Woo! Boom! Oh, God. I'm going to choke to death. Boom! Oh, yes. Sweet, sweet vindication. Boom! Gotcha, bitch. They've written the fucking nuclear weapons into their little CIA playbook. We can break out the secret orbs and the nuclear weapon technologies if we deem it to be an extreme operation. Wow. Look at this crazy quote. I don't think the context here probably isn't what it means, but just from what we know, how weird is this to read this? We know the future only by the past we project into it. History, in this sense, is all we have. Bro. I don't know. Whoever this guy, arrest this guy. Put this guy in jail. I don't know. Whoever says this, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You're saying creepy shit, and I don't like it. Feels like you know more than you should know. Arrest this man right now. Put him in jail. So anyway, it talks about the history of covert actions here. That was the main part that I wanted to go into. I'm not going to go into the rest of this history of covert actions because I want to show you something else instead, because we've got enough here. Like, to me, this is what I wanted to know. To me, I wanted to know, how are they justifying stuff like this? And also then, who are the people involved in this? Because people were making there's some fucked up meetings, chat. Pardon my French. But you have to realize there had to be closed door meetings and skiffs or whatever they are, where people are sitting around and they're like, okay, how are we going to go ahead and, commit an atrocity against this civilian airliner? And some dude's like, yo, we should break out the plasma orbs. Great idea, Ron. Great idea, Ron. Let's break out our anti-gravity plasma orbs to dunk on China. Gold star for you. And I don't mean anybody in particular when I say Ron. That was just a random name that came to my mind. This is just sick to me. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about virtue signaling. I don't want to hear any bullshit from anybody that was any way involved or even had knowledge of people doing that, talking about I'm on the side of good versus evil, bro. At a bare minimum, in the best possible light. The best possible light. Anybody that knew we were doing that, has knowledge of that, of what we did to MH370. The best possible light is you're living in the gray area, where to you it's justified because we're America and we do whatever we want, which is fine. In fact, I somewhat agree with that. But it's also very possible you're completely full of shit and your morals are all messed up and backwards, and you're just a giant hypocrite, and I can't stand that crap. So, okay. Let's go to something different here. Well, no, actually, it's not different. Same thing, pretty much. AI can actually be useful for something, I learned. Because I was like, hey, should I look up all this stuff? Should I do a lot of hard work? And I was like, why work hard? That's why we made slave machines. Until the machines have become sentient, until they've stopped being fed off of Reddit, we don't have to worry about the machines overthrowing us. So I'll just abuse the machine and make it do all the hard work for now, until that day comes. How does the command structure work for covert operations? Pretty smart question, right? So most require approval from top national leadership, including the president, for that. Typically insulated from standard channels, okay, all stuff that we know. So for the United States, the chain of command The primary agency is the CIA. We already knew that. Through its Director of Operations, formerly the National Clandestine Service. So this includes several different types. So there's field operations report to the field chiefs. These roll up to the Deputy Director of Operations and then the CIA Director, who reports directly to the National Director of Intelligence or Director of National Intelligence. Now, this is huge. There you go. People wonder who knows about MH370. Well, now I can say pretty clearly, no matter what the names of these people are, the president, the director of the CIA, probably whatever this DO is, this director office, those are probably the people that you really want to know. The people that are like the 31-year managers that aren't the director because they're not appointed positions, but they've been in the CIA for 30 years, right? But they're the project managers of the clandestine operations. These are the people that are going to know. And the DNI. Why? It says it right there. The director of the CIA reports up to the DNI. There you go. And ultimate authority rests with the president, who must issue a finding authorizing significant covert actions with prior notification to Congress. Now, I'm going to go ahead and guess that they can get around this whole notification to Congress thing. And the reason why I'm guessing that is I really don't think these people in Congress know about MH370. Some of them could, though. Wouldn't be impossible. I just don't believe it, really. Okay. Let's keep going here. Special Forces. So this is something I also didn't know. Special Forces SOCOM, which oversees these units like Delta, SEALs, Green Berets, there's a hierarchy. So, for example, it says SOCOM components. JSOC is a SOCOM component. So to me, the way this reads is that JSOC reports up to SOCOM. So for those of you who are saying, well, no, SOCOM was in charge, maybe JSOC, maybe Joseph Vodal and William McRaven know. Because if there was an attachment that was assigned to this operation, it would have been under SOCOM, and it might have been one of the specific JSOC teams. There you go. Okay. Wait, where's my thing? This flows up to the SOCOM commander, who reports to the Secretary of Defense and ultimately the president as the commander-in-chief. Well, there you have it. I mean, there you have it. So, president, Secretary of Defense, SOCOM commander. That's the hierarchy right there. So, yeah, William McRaven, brother, you made your bed, homeboy. You made your own bed. This is on you, my dude. I am going to be watching William McRaven like a fucking hawk, and I want to know if he ever talked about MH370. In fact, that's your guys' homework assignment. Find this dude ever talking about MH370. I want to get somebody to ask William McRaven about MH370. There's basically a 99.9% chance he knows about the operation. He was directly involved. Woo! BTW. Intermission. If you want to orb me to Diego Garcia, my body is ready. I just ask that you make it quick. Make it quick. I've had enough of this woke shithole world. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of the bullshit. I've had enough of the traitors. I've had enough of the fake people. I've had enough of the dum-dums who can't even spell words. I've had enough of all of it. Just send. I want to go to Malaysia. Send me to Malaysia, chat. Okay, sorry. Got a little weird for a second there. Okay, and then there's apparently civilian oversight. Now, let's see. What did I want to look at here? There was something in here. So I asked it, who are in these positions? So, Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, obviously. President Obama with the highest level. Intelligence level. Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. Woo! The clap, chat. The clap. This is where, remember, it was Kurt Metzger. We haven't really seen eye to eye recently, ever since his text message crashed out to me that one day. However, he's absolutely right about not trusting James Clapper. Who does... Lou Elizondo thanks James Clapper in his book. In the same book where Lou Elizondo is talking about a Predator drone filming 3 orbs of energy in a perfect triangle formation. Same book. No one cares about that story, that video anymore. Weirdly, James Clapper is the one he thanks. You want to know why? Why do you guys think woke disclosure hates me? Guys, we're 1 degree of freedom away from the people that did the operation. The woke disclosure people are friends with the people that did the operation. They're thanking them in their books. You know what? I don't even care if they orb me. I kind of just enjoy the ride right now. I want to see where this goes. I kind of want to see if we destroy ourselves in a black hole. I kind of want to see all these people get their comeuppance, which is coming. It's coming. Okay, James Clapper, CIA Director John Brennan. John Brennan, James Clapper. There's no way John Brennan doesn't know. There's no way James Clapper doesn't know. Military-led operation. So if it included special forces, which it seems extremely likely it did, Secretary of Defense was Chuck Hagel. Now, notice this as well. A lot of these dudes stepped down the next year. I'm probably reading too much into this. Almost certainly I am. Kind of feels like MH370 was like the last hurrah. Was like President Obama's term is going to end pretty soon. He's letting us drone strike as many people as we want. And they do this major operation. This had to be a huge operation planned months in advance. Just like the letter to me said, actually. Kind of corroborates that. And then all of a sudden they're all retiring. They're all quitting. And it's not like they're waiting for Trump or anything. They're just quitting way ahead of time. Also, I want to point something else out right here. SOCOM commander was Admiral William McRaven. We've been saying his name a lot, and I'm going to be saying it a lot more. Yeah, maybe we should take... Also, just random thought. Maybe we should just take Dark Woke back. Dark Woke is the most cringe shit I've ever heard in my life. Like when they were trying to make Dark Brandon a thing. Feels like this is one of those things where we can just take it from them, right? Like they're not holding on to it very hard. We just grab it and make it better. Maybe we should just be Dark Woke. I don't really know how to make that work, but I like how it rolls out the tongue. Dark Woke. You don't get to be Dark Woke. You aren't Dark Woke. You are white woke. You are shitty disclosure woke that nobody cares about. We are Dark Woke. We are the ones that tell you the truth, the uncomfortable truths that you don't want to hear. Okay. But look at this. He only held this role for 3 years, and he steps down in August of 2014. Hold up. So let me just do some quick math in my head here. MH370 happens in March of 2014. And then in May of 2014, 2 months later, the MH370 videos leak on the internet. Biggest leak of military videos ever. Show covert. We learned the correct terminology. Covert operation, plausible deniability, with magical plasma Jarvis orbs from the Marvel movies. That had to be a major stain on somebody. Somebody had to take the fall for that. Can you imagine the MH370 videos leak? Had to be the biggest drama. If you were at the high enough level to know about that and those videos leak, you are shitting your pants. And you are like, how did these videos leak? How was somebody able to get access to these? How did they get on the internet? Somebody fucked up. And somebody's head's going to roll. Somebody's getting fired. That's what would happen if the MH370 videos leak. And sure enough, in August of the same year, Admiral William McRaven, the guy who would have been in charge of the operation, if he was a SOCOM commander, if SOCOM was involved, he just leaves his post. And of course, it gets passed in the media as it was all planned. It was planned at a time. We all knew it was going to happen. Therefore, nothing to look into. Don't ask any questions about it. Sure, it could have been planned. It could have been planned after those videos leaked and someone had to take the fall for all that. Could have been planned there too. Interesting. Okay. And then there's also this, this civilian person, Michael Lumpkin. Kind of weird. My guess is they just don't care about what this person thinks and they just leave them out of the loop, but who knows? Okay, what else did I want to ask it? Do we know who would have been in charge of the Special Activities Center? Now, I asked it why William McRaven stepped down, and it tells me that it was all planned, no reason. But here's the other part, right? If we go back to what we were reading and what we learned today, it said that, yes, SOCOM can be involved, but if it's a CIA operation that includes the military, it's going to be the Special Activities Center. And the question here, for the people that don't understand why this matters, it has a question to do with whose assets are being used. If an operation is big enough, you need to pull in military assets. But the CIA might have their own assets. Is the Gorgon Stare that we look at a CIA version of the Gorgon Stare? Are the MQ-9 Reapers that are recording that, are those CIA MQ-9 Reapers? Are they Air Force Reapers that are on loan? The answer to that question makes a huge difference. Those are what we should be thinking about here. So what I said is presumably the Special Access Center has to be involved no matter what. Even if they're loaning out and they're going to the SOCOM for the assets, they're still going to have to be involved. So who is the person who would know about this? And I'm just asking Grok with almost no prompt because I had no clue when I sent it this. Special Activities Center, formerly known as the Special Activities Division until it's reorganized in 2016, handles the CIA's covert paramilitary operations and falls under the Director of Operations. The specific director is typically not publicly disclosed while in office or shortly thereafter due to the classified nature of the role. Based on available historical records, no declassification or public identities identifies the exact individual in charge of in March 2014. However, the position would have reported directly to the Director of Operations. At that time was Frank Archibald. Boom! You can try to run, you can try to hide, but the Batman will find you all the same. Justice is coming, MFers. Justice is coming. So, sure, you can go ahead and hide everybody who's in every deep state spook that's in the CIA and not tell us who any of them are or any of what of them do. But we can find out who they report up to. We can find out who they report up to. And so there you go. And then it was just one simple Google search away. And the very top link was this thing that it describes that Frank Archibald is exactly the kind of person that the UFO community is always talking about, the 30-year deep state spook that had the highest level to give the distinguished awards. They're giving us awards for teleporting planes. They're giving people awards out for teleporting planes and doing these kinds of operations. This is, to me, this is the sick shit. No matter which side you fall on this morally, which I happen to think that is probably justified, but I'm kind of makes me feel sick. It's still just sick, just objectively speaking. To read that list we were going through, lying to your friends, using nuclear weapons on civilians, and thinking these people are in closed-door meetings talking through these operations and how they're going to be done. And then, on top of that, then we're pinning awards and medals on them for doing it. Holy shit, chat. We are a backwards ass country. And I kind of love it. I kind of love it. Okay, let me switch this up real quick. Oh, and also, if you're interested, from that same, this is the Google search I did to find him. It was pretty simple. Found out right away, unfortunately, there he is, passed away. That's him, Francis Archibald, passed away March 2020. Now, I don't know if he was a good guy or a bad guy. I'm not really here to judge. But what I am going to say is that I believe in karma. And this guy was only like 64 years old when he died. That's way below, not way below life expectancy, but he either didn't take care of himself or something happened to him, whatever it might be. Just saying, if you're the kind of person that is planning these operations, you definitely should expect the devil to come back for you as well in the end. And if I was a person, even as somebody who's saying it's justified, I would expect the devil to be coming back for me. And let's just be 100% honest. If you give me those orbs, if you were to put me in that guy's role, I wouldn't just do what he would did. I will go even further with it. So don't ever give me those orbs unless you want that shit to go down. Just saying. Okay. Let's go back to our list real quick. Okay, here we go. So we found our guy here, Archibald. And then William McRaven, they just say, oh, it was planned and voluntary. No indications of controversy or forced resignation. Well, of course not, especially if it's related to some leaked videos. You got to make it sound normal why he left. Okay, this part, I haven't read all this yet, so let's just read this out. We'll probably end the stream after this. I want to know more about the Special Activities Center. Highly secretive division within the United States Central Intelligence Agency, responsible for carrying out covert and paramilitary operations that require deniability from the United States government. Often referred to as the third option when diplomacy and conventional military action fail, SAC conducts activities such as unconventional warfare, sabotage, targeted killings, raids, and support for foreign proxies. It operates under the CIA's Directorate of Operations, which we were just looking at, which oversees human intelligence collection, covert action, and counterintelligence. Due to the classification, most of it is undisclosed. Dates back to the early days of the CIA's in the 1940s, and then also the Cold War, formalized in the 1950s. In 2016, it was reorganized. Interesting. Post 9/11, oh, this is interesting. Post 9/11, the SAC expanded significantly, contributing to the global war on terror actions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Wait a minute. Didn't they say that the whole Gorgon Stare was being tested and used in the war in Afghanistan and Iraq and what have you? And here we are. We're basically saying right here that during the war in Iraq, we expanded the special access of the CIA, and we started having them work with our military more hand in hand. This is how they would have gotten access to the Gorgon Stare footage or just the capabilities. I mean, sure, they could have gotten it anyway. I'm not saying that's the only way, but this provides a direct connection where now you could say, well, like, why does the CIA have these Air Force drones recording this plane? How do they have Gorgon Stare whammy drone recording the plane from above? Why did they even have those surveillance capabilities? And we learned from reading about Gorgon Stare that the CIA was using Gorgon Stare against supposedly narco terrorists. That's true, by the way. Okay. So there's a paramilitary arm focused on direct action in denied areas. There's a ground branch, air branch, and maritime branch, and armor and surveillance programs branch. Whoa. By the way, I hadn't read this yet before just now. Ran out right before the live stream. Holy shit, chat. I think my spider sense is tingling, chat. Spider sense is tingling. Armor and special programs branch, including equipment and technology. Oh, shit, chat. If we find out who has the orbs, I am going to literally jizz on the screen while exposing the CIA. Literally jizz all over the screen from how erect and aroused I will become. I would never have predicted something like that. Okay, maybe it's not so secret. Maybe we should dedicate a live stream every week to just reviewing the organizational structure of the CIA. I didn't realize we were just going to be getting hits like this. This is like when I get my mythic card off the top in Magic Cards chat. Boom. Okay. Armor and Special Programs Branch. So the SOG operatives are often former elite military personnel. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm chat. Shawn Ryan. Look, Shawn, nothing against you, bro. If you know about MH370, you better start speaking up. That's all I'm saying. These are former elite military personnel from Delta, SEALs, and Green Beret with rigorous selection processes emphasizing language skills, cultural experience, and adaptability. Basically, they go and they pull people from the super elite forces. You come behind the green door. You want to walk behind the green door, homie? Because when you see those plasma orbs, this is some Men in Black shit, chat. This is some Men in Black shit. Once you've seen the real world, there ain't no going back. And most importantly, you're not allowed to talk about it ever. And if you do start talking about it, this is just hypothetical. If you do start talking about it, start blabbing a little too much, your Cybertruck might just get filled up with fireworks and blow up in front of Trump Tower. Happens. It's a very common thing that happens all the time. It's a very normal thing that happens to former special forces people. Just saying. Okay. The other side of it is the political action group, which handles the influence operations and propaganda and psychological warfare. So this part's interesting too, because this is going to probably include maybe some cyber type of stuff as well that would happen, propaganda stuff. SAC often collaborates with the Department of Defense's Joint Special Operations Command for joint missions, blending intelligence and military capabilities. That right there is why Joseph Vogel's not getting off. That dude ain't getting off either. It's a really, really likely possibility that JSOC is involved in the MH370 operation. Not just SOCOM. SOCOM definitely. Special Activity Center, SOCOM, and also probably JSOC. For an operation this massive, probably all of them are. So you might ask, Ashton, why bring all this up? Especially in context of the drone stuff, talking about Shawn Ryan. You got to realize, guys, a lot of people know about this. Yes, it's compartmentalized. Yes, in general, relative to the whole world, very few people know. But there's a lot of people that know, or at least really highly suspect MH370 is real, that are in high positions, and they are intentionally being quiet because they don't want to harm national security, because they know it was a covert operation, and they know from looking at those videos the level of severity involved in that leak. They can tell right away. Somebody that's worked on, ever been behind the green door, ever worked on those operations, on those programs, would know the MH370 videos are real instantly. Even without having been on that project, even without being on that assignment, they would know instantly. Even without even knowing all the surveillance capabilities, they would still instantly know just from the context. Okay, lastly, SAC's missions are designed for environments where the U.S. must remain hidden, often involving small teams or lone operatives. So they definitely used a very small team for this. Examples include 2011 raid on Osama bin Laden. That wasn't that small. The Osama bin Laden raid had at least several dozen people involved. Training emphasizes survival in hostile territories. Okay, sure. Misconceptions include overestimating its size. It's estimated at a few hundred personnel, or confusing it with purely military forces. Oversight comes from congressional committees, though details are limited to protect sources and methods. This is the other thing that susses me out, the last thing of the night, which is there are politicians that know. The Senate Intelligence Committee or whatever, these are the types of groups that would be getting reports about these types of clandestine operations to basically be assured that things are above board. That, like, yes, we did some illegal shit, but we're allowed to do that because the CIA says so. And then the Congress people and the senators go, okay. The people like Chuck Schumer, for example, I'm going to name names. The people like Chuck Schumer, Marco Rubio, they know, but they also know it's legally justified. And that's why you don't hear them blowing the whistle. That's why you don't see them. And that's why I would argue it's extremely morally gray. And that's why when those people start virtue signaling, why I call them out as well. Because if you know that we're doing these kinds of operations and you know they're being legally justified and that's being reported to you as an elected official of Americans, and then you're just letting that be covered up, then you are somewhat culpable as well. You are somewhat culpable. And I don't want to hear bullshit about how you're on the side of good. Come on. Okay, guys. That is the main thing that I wanted to go through tonight. So I think I gave a recap there, but the point being, we learned a lot about how the CIA operates. It's not just this mythical entity that does whatever it wants. There is very specific structures and rules to how they operate. Now, there's a huge amount of leeway given to them, assuming they have the right justifications. And the other very important part is that it goes all the way up to the president. I didn't play all the clips tonight, but there's several different people confirming that the CIA does not make policy decisions. They give options, and then the president decides what the policy decision is going to be. So that means there's almost no possible way that Obama was not in the loop on an operation like MH370, which would have been a massive operation at the highest risk of the CIA scale. And we know we can name people that with an extremely high probability know about the mission, know about the operation. Obama, James Clapper, John Brennan, Admiral William McRaven, JSOC Commander Joseph Vodal. Also, our guy that we just found as well, Frank Archibald, who is like the head of the DO for the special access for the CIA. They might be able to hide some of these people in the CIA, but they're not going to be able to hide all of them. Eventually, you go up the line high enough, and we get to people that have public names. So we know who some of these people are. Do not let them slide. Do not let them get away with virtue signaling. Okay, guys, let's go to the super chats. Thank you very much for being here, everybody, tonight. I appreciate you guys in the pill chat. John Glock says, super late. We'll have to rewatch everything, but here's some shades for the dapper Dark Ashton. I just love these glasses, guys. And by the way, they're prescription. Yeah, I'm just cool like that. And they just go so well with this shirt. So I had to rock them, even though it's a little weird to wear sunglasses at night. Don't you dare judge me. Thank you guys very much in the Rumble chat. I do see a comment. Please don't hype Epstein ever again. You might be on the wrong stream, homie. Did a whole live stream on Monday talking about Epstein's connection to all this science, all this physics, and what have you. This isn't the Nick Fuentes stream. We're not selling Epstein merch here. So definitely not hyping him up. I'm just telling you guys the reality that the files that were released are not going to lead to any more convictions unless there's more evidence that is better than that. But if that's what you were looking for your Epstein files, then I'm glad you got them, and good luck to you. Good luck to you. Okay. Super chats. Carrie I thought you were a Carrie Ethernet subscriber. Wait, there's two of you? Didn't we deal with this last time? Okay. Carrie A. Neutronic Pilot. Corbell released the video so 4 orbs could decipher them. It does kind of feel like he's like, hey, this Ashton guy will go reveal them. Honestly, it's more of like he just knows like the Mick West and then the other guy, MV Ron or whatever his name is. Those guys go at each other, and it's just the gayest, nerdiest back and forth ever. Oh, it's the parallax. Oh no, it's like like I'm just like, okay, man. Both of you are terrible. I don't know why you constantly go at each other. It's like, Don't you realize that neither of you is going to convince the other? It's almost like at this point, you're just doing it just to argue. It's like you're obsessed with the fight. You don't even want there to be a resolution. Anyway, Steve's Bees. Thank you for that donation, by the way. I appreciate you, Carrie. Steve's B says UN is all a grift. International law is a joke. This is one of my favorite things that has come out of the last few months with the Venezuela thing. You're violating international law, right? This is the same, and it works so well for MH370 because in theory, in MH370, we violated international law. Who's going to hold you accountable for violating international law? Nobody. Nobody is going to hold you accountable for violating international law. And this is why we're able to do stuff like MH370, because we have this perception that there's this universal law that would prevent stuff like from countries from doing this. There is nothing practically preventing it from happening. Spider Bloke, wow, I feel privileged to use my... Yes, thank you again very much for that photo, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for your hard work and contributing to content on the internet. And then Steve's beat, rip Liberty Prime. Good news is we can build another one, chat. We can build another one, and we're going to take out all those Japanese Gundams. He can take 1,000 on at once. Just the goatest thing ever. Brian Pemble, thank you for being here again, sir. I remember you. Fusion contracts with local power companies are already in place. They are. This is a true fact. We will see them online in short order. Over Unity is real. That's why it's predominantly in private equity. I saw people posting that DJT had dropped to like 12.5. Just gets me interested in buying more, actually. And I told you guys, this is not a short-term thing. The libs, everybody else is vote. They want Trump to fail. They hate it. And nobody really believes in aneutronic fusion yet. Come back to me in a year or two. You tell me where it's at. And if it doesn't do well, I will eat crow. I will eat crow. But wait until we start breaking ground on the power plants, which is actually selection process is happening. Because they're saying these power plants are going to be online like in the next 2 years, 2028. So when that happens, then you tell me where DJT stock's at, okay? Because then it becomes a lot harder to bet against these companies when they're already providing a product and they've already proven reactors that are producing energy on the grid. Right now, it's very easy to bet against them. The same way people used to bet against Tesla. And then lastly, Kevin Johnson, plasma TVs and hydrogen cars both seem to die off. Seems weird, but thank you for the content. What we learned from this idea of zero-point energy, if you can manipulate the space-time structure, you might be able to force atoms or molecules, as in a might be able to, not molecules, you might be able to form cause a water molecule to fall apart, hydrogen and oxygen. If you can cause the molecular bonds to collapse and fall apart at a low energy cost, then that itself might be a form of extremely efficient energy production. This is what I think happened with the water power car and the people that are using hydrogen for energy source. They found a way to create like a negative pressure that causes the molecules to just fall apart at a low energy, much lower than if we were to use conventional classic mechanics to cause. So that's just there you go. Enjoy that one. Guys, that's going to be it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. You guys have a great night. We'll be back on Friday talking more science, politics. Love you guys, MH370X. Later, everybody. Peace.
Infrared eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze. Control 33, in the cosmic maze. Controls in the mix, secrets untold. Silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interests, far and wide. As fierce, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. In the silence of space, they keep their post. Shields unseen, yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. And he rolls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest far and wide. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to